A prominent person asked me to be on a local nonprofit board. They really wanted me. They wanted my passion for social justice, or so they said. In theory, I was aligned with the mission of the organization. And after meeting with two of the organization's leaders, I learned a little bit more, and I arrived at a conclusion. This was just not for me. I didn't really want to do it. Yet I reluctantly said yes. What preceded was nearly 2 years of going to meetings that I really didn't want to go to, and a sense of guilt and regret for not sticking to what I wanted. I'm sure everyone here has been in a similar spot, right? You were asked to do something you didn't really want to do. You had the option to say no, but you said yes. Now, for some things, saying no is easy. Like when my 7-year-old asked to drive the car. It's easier to say no to someone you don't like too much. It's harder to say no to someone who you admire or who has some power over you, like a boss or a manager. We say yes when we really want to say no. If you are anything like me, you want people to like you. I'll admit it, I'm a people pleaser. And there's nothing wrong with that. But people pleasing should never overrule our own integrity. As good UUs, we don't want to upset people. We are very conscious of other people's thoughts and feelings, and we get a lot of fulfillment from helping people. But that doesn't mean we should say yes every time we are asked to do something. Anya Elizabeth Johnson is a marine biologist and a climate activist who gave a great TED Talk that involved 3 overlapping circles in a Venn diagram. I don't have a third arm to do that, but imagine 3 circles. The first circle are things that need to be done. In her case, climate justice. The second circle is things that you are good at, your skills, your resources, your networks. And the third circle is the things that bring you joy. So imagine those 3 circles overlapping, and where they overlap, those are the things that are calling to you to do. The needs of the world, the things that bring you joy, and the things you are good at. Say yes to the things that bring you joy. Say yes. Follow your joy. However, sometimes we already have enough things that bring us joy on our plate. So perhaps we shouldn't say yes to something until we can say no to something else. We can ask ourselves how this additional thing will fit in physically, financially, spiritually, and emotionally in our life. Can we be well-grounded, patient people with time for self-care and do this other thing? We like to sing about justice and service, and we are supposed to be about the common good and serving each other with a sense of love. So we can easily feel guilty about not doing enough. There are so many worthy causes out there. By saying no, though, we can rethink the things we are already doing and already finding joy in. And if we do say no, who knows? Perhaps there is another person, a better person out there who could be perfect for that task. Now, there are plenty of situations where no is very difficult. Like when a family member or a good friend asks you for a loan. One of my most difficult no's was to a longtime friend. His name was Andy. Now, Andy had a series of destructive choices in his life involving drugs and toxic relationships. But I loved Andy and had history with Andy. And so I had to tell him, I want to hang out with Andy, not hi, Andy. I set a firm boundary. Later, he asked me to play bass in one of his bands, and he lit up at his rehearsal. Sorry, Andy, I can't take part in this. And I left. We all have these difficult no conversations in our lives from time to time, and being clear and being upfront and honest is being nice and kind. Now, I sometimes am in the business of asking people to serve on committees, to help out here in church. It's what some people call leadership development. And I am grateful to everyone who has ever said no to me in a direct and firm manner. It shows me your maturity, your self-respect. When we say no, we don't owe anyone an explanation. We do not owe anyone an apology. We can just say, thank you for thinking of me, but no, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. On the other hand, perhaps we should not be saying no to everything. Like to me, right? No. We should be saying yes to the things we want to do, the things that bring us a deeper joy, and not just the things that we are already good at, but the things that may challenge us into growth and take us a little bit out of our comfort zone. We should seek a spiritual depth to every yes we give. How would this further my own meaning and my own mission? Unfortunately, some people can sense the yes people, and we, the yes people, can be abused, taken advantage of if we don't know how to clearly have boundaries and say no. And saying no can be empowering. Being able to say yes and no with ease and clarity is a sign that we have healthy boundaries. By boundaries, I mean a set of expectations and needs that help us feel safe and comfortable in our relationships. There can be simple and ordinary boundaries, like when you come to my house, you take off your shoes. Please, no yelling and cursing at me, or I will end the conversation. Having healthy boundaries allows us to advocate for ourselves and maintain healthy relationships. The saying goes, love your neighbor as yourself, not love your neighbor more than yourself. In her excellent book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace, Nedra Glover Tawwab says we sometimes have thought patterns that stop us from setting clear boundaries. We may fear being perceived as mean, as being rude. Sometimes we project our own feelings of not liking the word no onto others. They'll be hurt if I say no. The reality is, healthy people accept our no's. And sure, maybe we get value from helping others. But Tawwab says we can help people and set a boundary. Limits create clarity. We don't want to be overwhelmed caring for others, and we also need self-care, our own spiritual care to make sure that we are healthy. Sometimes we don't like the discomfort of saying no. The reality is that firming up our boundaries and saying no when we haven't in the past might actually make us feel a little awkward, feel guilty, and that is okay. That is okay. But if we are setting healthy and clear boundaries and our friends and family are not honoring them, that says more about them than it says about ourselves. We can cope with the discomfort, and things will get easier the more often we do them. Now, there are all kinds of boundaries that we need to have in our lives, like physical boundaries. How comfortable are you being touched? I'm sure that we all know someone and been around people that are all up in your personal space. And they don't need to be, right? You can simply say, please move back a little. Being farther back would make me feel much more comfortable. Verbalize your needs clearly. Someone says a sexist or racist joke in front of you, your comment, your joke is not funny and actually is inappropriate. Being clear is being kind. Haven't we all had friends where every time you get together, they're talking about how bad their job is, how bad their manager is, and it's kind of just drags down the whole conversation? Haven't we been there? It's okay to say, I don't want to talk about that topic with you. Let's talk about something else. There are friends and family who continually dump toxic stuff on us, and we can say, it sounds like you have a lot going on, and I don't feel equipped to help. You might want to contact a therapist. We need material boundaries as well, like our friends and family who never return those borrowed books. We need time boundaries. We all know people who expect you to drop everything to help them and request unreasonable favors. When we are asked to do something we do not want to do, or perhaps someone we do not want to be with, we have every right to set our expectations clearly and honestly. And don't say, I'll try to make it. Instead say, I will not be able to make it. Assertiveness is the way. Clearly and directly state your needs. You can say no to anything you do not want to do. You can tell people how you feel as a result of their behavior. You can share your thoughts honestly and respond in the moment. You can talk directly to the person you have issues with. You can be clear, you can be precise, you can state your need or request. You can deal with the sometimes emotional discomfort, the fear, the sadness, the remorse, the awkwardness, the guilt of setting boundaries. You can state your needs in a firm voice, not a whisper, and not yelling. Most people will respect our boundaries. Now, some will push back. They'll test your limits, they'll rationalize, they'll question, they'll get defensive, or give you the silent treatment. You know what? People are entitled to their responses. But we are not entitled to be manipulated into something that we do not want to do. I want, I need, I expect you to return my car full of gas after I lend it to you. If you're doing nothing wrong, you do not need to apologize. Thanks, but I won't be able to make it. I can't help you this time. I hope you enjoy yourself, but I won't be able to make it. Setting healthy and clear boundaries brings us into more peace, better and healthier relationships, and empowers us to be happier. Right now, more than ever, Our church, our community, our world needs us, needs our love, our sense of unity and care, our joy, our passion, and our healthy boundaries. Amen. So may it be.